What's up, guys? Here at Philly Soccer Page post game. Mike Video here with Kevin Kincaid. Union down NYCFC 2-0. Your thoughts on that one?
Looked like a pretty comfortable game, didn't it? Which is rare to say here at Talent Energy Stadium when we've seen so many games here over the past year or 2 years that have just, that they've found a way to let other teams back into the game or throw it away or whatever. But this looked like one of the most comfortable Union home wins that I've seen in a long time. 3 wins now at home this year. They've scored 7 goals at home. They've conceded 1 goal. 9 points out of 9 points here at home. I mean, that'll get you where you need to be, which is at the top of the Eastern Conference where they are right now.
Yeah, I mean, they talked early in the season that they wanted to make Talon a fortress. I think it seems like they're well on their way to do that.
Yeah, and I don't really know what they're doing to get there, but whatever it is, it's working. They just look like a completely different team at home. It's a more I don't know. It just feels like it's a more mature team. It's a team that knows that it's the favorite, and when it needs to take care of business, it can do that, and it can assert its game plan and its style on another team. And in years past, we saw Union teams that could go on the road and they could play when their back was against the wall, or when they were really up against it, or when they were the underdog and they were like trying to prove somebody wrong. But when you have expectations that are placed upon you, that takes a different level of mental fortitude, I guess, and they've been able to show that so far, that when they're the favorite, when they're supposed to beat a team, it sounds strange saying that, but when they're the favorite and when they're supposed to beat a team, they've been able to do it so far this year.
I mean, I think you hit on it there. It seems comfortable. The second half, NYC doesn't get a shot on goal, I don't think, and really they only created the one chance right after the interval. I mean, were you surprised that they were able to see it out so easily today?
No, no, yes and no, I guess, because we knew that New York had been struggling coming into this one, but even then, the idea that you could sub Fabinho off at 45 and make a defensive sub with Ray Gaddis in there, bring Warren Creval on with 10 minutes to go, make 2 defensive subs, and just sort of see the game out. I mean, it's such a foreign concept for Union fans, I think. But on the other half, I think, if we're speaking frankly here, I think New York was terrible today. They're absolutely awful. And you and I just witnessed the most bizarre Patrick Vieira press conference of all time.
Yeah, I just unwilling to.
Do you want to take a crack at summing that up?
Unwilling to admit that his team was poor in front of a lot of questions asking about it. It was interesting.
He just came out to us about 20 minutes ago and he said that he thought his team was the better team. He didn't play Andrea Pirlo just because it was his choice. It didn't have anything to do with an injury or whatever. He said they needed to be better in front of goal. They created a lot of chances. They were good. There's a weird question that was posed to him. It was a complicated tactical question that he didn't really understand,
and didn't answer at all.
Really awkward moment where we were all just sort of like keeping our heads down, just trying to like wonder what the hell was going on. But no, it was. New York was poor, and Philly, they came out on their home field and won a game that they were supposed to win, and you can't say. You wouldn't have been able to say that about past Union teams.
It did come up in the press conference talking to Jim Curtin. I was asked if CJ Sapong should be thought about brought in for the national team. I mean, do you have thoughts on that and thoughts about just his form so far this season?
He's proven a lot of people wrong. I mean, myself being one of them, because I didn't think that they did enough in the offseason to improve the attacking core. And I think what people were saying at the beginning of the year was, if CJ is a guy who, if you get him service and if you put him in good spots and he stays healthy, then yeah, he can score a bunch of goals. And I think that's what you've seen so far. National team, I mean, if we're going to answer that question, you have to look at who's in the player pool right now. Josie Altidore, Bobby Wood. If you look at the other strikers on the depth chart for the USA right now, I mean, you can make a case that CJ should be there, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, 4 goals on the season. I think he's definitely making an argument for himself. Chris Pontius gets the other goal tonight. Tranquillo Barnetta starts and plays about 65 minutes. Ilsinho comes on after missing 2 games. What have you thought of the chemistry in the midfield? And I think they've used 8 different midfielders so far this season.
Jim came out a short time ago and he said we still haven't put our best lineup on the field yet, and he's correct, because they still haven't had Maurice Adu. Tranquillo hasn't been 100% healthy all year. Ilsinho had been out at points, so there's never been an occasion this year where they've gotten their best 11 on the field. But they're stepping up and they're getting contributions from all over the place. Chris Pontius, that's 3 for him.
Yep.
CJ, that's 4 for him.
Yeah.
And those are like veteran MLS guys. Those aren't even the snazzy foreign signings that we've been talking about, you know. So they're finding contributions everywhere. And the thing I liked the most about Tranquillo today was that on the first goal, most players just would have slammed that shot at net when there was a center back who's laying on the ground in front of you. But for him to sort of have the wherewithal to kind of chip it up over him, and even to make that play,
Yeah.
And then that's one thing, and then to make the cross, play the cross where he played the cross, that's 2 brilliant moves in one attacking moment. Yeah.
I mean, and he just said it to me in interviewing him in the locker room too, and he recognized exactly the situation where he is in, where if he took that shot on first time, it's going to get blocked. So he knew he had to chip it up to himself, and he was pleased to see Pontius making the run, and just the vision, I think, is it's not something we've had in a Union number 10 in quite some time.
Yeah, and on the CJ goal, it kind of was encapsulated his best traits all in one. In one moment where his hold-up play, the knockdown, he wins it. Then he scrambles to get back into position, and then he's in the right place at the right time to make that redirected goal. I don't think it's possible, but technically, if somebody else had knocked it down, they would have got the secondary assist for it. And then he finished it. So can you give him a secondary and a goal for that? I guess not. But he's now finding. Well, last year he worked really hard in a lot of spots, and it wasn't really impacting the score sheet sometimes. But this year he's finding ways to turn all that hard work into goals and assists and things that matter. So quantifiable data that we really didn't have last year.
I think we talked a lot about the offense. One last question, I think, would be a defensive question. Josh Yarrow comes in for his second consecutive start. How did you think he performed?
I think he was fine. I mean, there was one pass at the beginning of the game that was way off, but for the most part, he read everything that he needed to read.
Yes,
it wasn't always pretty, and he and Richie Marquez missed a couple tackles. David Villa found a lot of space in the first half, hit 2 over the bar, and then the third one hit the bar. So, no, it wasn't always pretty, but I mean, for the most part, they were in the right place at the right time, and the defense was similar to the way it has been in weeks past, where it was bend but don't break.
Yep.
The other team's going to get their chances. Anything that's easy or low percentage, Andre Blake's going to save. And if you concede one, whatever, because you scored 2. So I think that's good, because when we came into the season, Josh Yarrow looked like he was really off, and like he might be down at Bethlehem Steel for a while. So now who do you play there? Do you play Ken Tribbett there?
I don't know. It's a tough question. I think Jim Curtin will have to answer that one this week.
Yeah.
All right, I think we'll wrap up there. Thanks for watching. Mike's video. Kevin Kincaid, check out his stuff, Philly Voice. We'll see you next Saturday at 4 p.m. when the Union take on San Jose.